Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your time in visiting our joint webinar today. One of the things that I wanted to do is to briefly introduce a new product that's coming into the marketplace, our new D785. This is a sort of what we call it an executive level phone that we're going to also soon be releasing I guess a junior or commercial level phone later on in the year. But it's sort of a break in the tradition and allowing us to be sort of, we were leaving the paper behind, and now we're introducing, our color screen as well as a paperless model that I think will sort of be very intriguing to meeting the current market demands. For some of the people who aren't familiar with Snom, we've been around for 20 years. We came out in, I think, 1997, and it's been well over 2017. And one of the great outcomes of it is that we've really developed a very robust SIP stack, as well as a very robust technology that has been proven throughout the world. Again, we have offices. We're a global company that's based in Germany. We have offices throughout UK, France, and in this case, for VoIP Supply, we also have many offices throughout Americas. There are offices from the East Coast, West Coast, throughout North America, and we also have the capability of bringing lots of product expertise local to you. So we understand that you actually have many lines that you support to provide your clients with business. And the great news is that with the recent merger of VTech and Snom, there has been mutual advantages on both ends. So that one of the great things is added local support, so that when you need support, you could contact your local partners such as VoIP Supply, or you could contact us directly so that we could, in essence, bring the product expertise to your door. One of the great things about this merger, at least from the Snom side, is that it also enables us to bring 2-year warranties to our desk phones. And that includes the new D785 that I'm about to introduce to you. And in addition to 2-year desk phones, we also provide advanced parts replacement. What does that really mean? That means that once you've deployed a Snom phone, you are then now capable of, as long as the phone is in warranty, and should the remote chance that that phone goes down, we will, in essence, be able to ship a phone directly to you or have our partner ship a phone to you without any care, so that when the malfunctioning phone is returned, your client is not down of a very communication device that allows them to conduct business as usual. And of course, as usual, we have a lot of high quality and feature-rich products that I'm going to talk about, as well as being compatible with many of the leading PBX platforms moving forward. Again, this is one of the many, a partial list of a lot of the platforms that we have. What I can do is provide a PDF version of this thing so that if you contact your partner, VoIP Supply, they'll be able to send you a copy of this presentation, so there's really no need to take any notes should you need to move forward. Again, German engineering. One of the great things about this merger is that, Snom has gone from, in essence, a 100+ person company to, in essence, tens of thousands of people now working on the same team from both engineering, manufacturing, as well as being able to bring out this robust technology to you, our partners, as well as our clients. Now, I'm going to talk about a lot of the differentiators which makes our phone different. And one of the big things is that, even the case of one of our largest selling phones, the D765, which I'll show you the models later on, we have a very low RMA rate. That's 0.05%. And what that means is that once you go ahead and deploy our phones, the chances of that phone returning back to you is close to nil. There's those people who follow quality assurance, our mean time between failures. That means, on average, you would have a failure rate of 333,873 hours. That actually translates to 38 years. So when you go ahead and pop up there, the statistical return rate of that phone is 38 years. And I think by that time, one would be very, very, immune in terms of being able to have that phone serve its full function to you. And of course, our R&D for future designs as well as current designs is all handled out of Berlin, Germany. Of course, we have powerful firmware. This is, as I mentioned very earlier, we came out with the Snom 100 series that has lasted many, many years. And throughout the years, we've actually been able to establish a very, very robust SIP stack. And what that means is that anybody that's in compliance with the SIP technology, we will be able to implement that. And not only implement that, but we'll have over 900 features that are actually integrated to this phone. So even though from the outside, you see a phone, you have a handset, the speaker set, but what really makes the difference of the phone is the actual operating system of the phone. As many of you sit out there today, the big difference between a Windows PC versus an iOS versus an Apple PC is the operating system. Both of the mechanics look alike, but really what makes the difference between the two is the actual software that sits inside these phones. The same thing goes for iOS as well as Android. We have fans on both ends, and then each people tend to like different things. But I want you to focus in, and what I'm going to focus on today is really some of the added features that we brought on to the new interface that brings over 900 features to it. Because we're a global company, for people out there that may be establishing phones in different languages, not only do we address these phones globally, but we have 19 different languages that are available, so that if you happen to be deploying phones in a Spanish-speaking environment, etc., you can convert your IP phone to really speak to the client in Spanish if that's what you need to do. Again, one of the easy things is customization. As I'm showing the D765 here, which actually shows that the actual display can actually show your client or your own logo on the actual phone. This costs $0 to you, and it's a matter of putting your logo and configuring the phones so that you can actually take that phone configuration, and when the phone sits idle, your logo is the one that's standing out there in front of your end customer, showing who in the world, is actually providing you the voice service. For those with a little bit more ambitious transitions, we also have the actual Snom logo, which sits on top. One of the very big advantages of the merger between VTech and Snom is that VTech actually brings in to our portfolio a huge manufacturing base. One of the large lines of businesses that VTech has had is a base of manufacturing. And now what it boils down to is that Snom phones are now built in its own kitchen. Not every phone manufacturer has this ability. And because we have our own kitchen, we bring several different benefits to our end client. One of which is that now that we can bake our own bread, we can provide that bread to you at an extremely competitive price. And what that means is that since we're making it all, we can actually made recent price adjustments that if you've actually taken a Snom phone recently, you'll be able to notice a big decrease in price. But for those with larger ambitions and want to actually have a hard label phone, you could actually, have your logo laser etched onto our phone as well. And because we have our own kitchen, we have a lot more flexibility. If that's something you're interested in, please contact your partner, as well as being able to see whether or not that's something that we can do. Phone behaviors, as far as transfers, key mapping, many of the things that I'm going to show you is a lot of the ability to do not just speed dialing, but these buttons themselves go far more than just speed dialing, but add a lot of different functionality, and I'll get a little bit more into that moving forward. Obviously, when we're attaching phones to the network, security really, really matters, because there's been lots of break-ins on the outside and people being able to pry into those things. And what I wanted to show you is that Snom does comply with the highest security standards in the world. In fact, on one of our newest graphical user interfaces, you'll actually see an icon depicting in the red circle there showing that your secure connection is enabled. This is very similar to the very old browser days when we used to connect to a secure connection, and that you actually see a lock connection on your actual browser confirming that you actually have a secure connection. Of course, in our interop program, I just kind of wanted to show you something internal within Snom that, it is all a part of our interop test plan, that not only do we just interop with the actual PBX manufacturer, but we go and take it a step further in making sure that we try to break our own phone. And of course, this is all a part of our quality process to assure that not only features are supported, but securities are supported as well. So let's talk about our phones. This is a set that we displayed in CBIT, but another key point about deploying a Snom phone is its ease of deployment. We understand that time is money for many of the resellers and manufacturers out there, and that not only are we capable of customizing the screen and being able to deploy it, but being able to deploy it pretty much right out of the box is an easy thing that we can do. You can install any pre-installed certificates, as well as have your own configuration, such as specific keys that are custom to your client base, or having a logo that's automatically configured to the phone. This could all be done in pre-configuration files, and that Snom supports your ability to be able to take our phone out of the box, plug it in, and being able to have it wake up and know who owns the phone and what files actually belong to it. It's a very, very simple process, and if you have any questions about this process, please contact myself or any of our partners in line here, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through it. Now let's talk about the product range. Now, Snom, another differentiator is the fact that Snom does both desk phones, mobile, wireless products, conferencing, headsets, as well as network peripherals. I don't believe you'll find that any other phone manufacturer brings this plethora of products into your suite and being able to bring this forth, because now with the combination of both VTech and Snom, we have a real good endpoint capability in bringing solutions to your set. But for the process of this webinar, I'm just going to concentrate on our desk phones, which is the D785. One of the things about our desk phones is that we come with both entry-level from the D712 and 715, which share the same faceplate. But as you move up into mid-level, we also have the high-end D785, which is being introduced in America. In fact, we will be releasing this in early February, which is right around the corner. As you can tell, Snom has always had a reputation of bringing out a phone with a lot of buttons. So with those lot of buttons, you'll see in our design how we bring a lot of those button features without necessarily taking up more real estate on the actual phone. I'm not going to go over the specific bits and bytes and features of these phones. I assume that many of you have already been experienced in these phones, but I do want to address that not only do we have the high-end executive phone, we have entry level, but the thing I want you to keep a key note on is the USB port that is in existence in the D715 throughout the D785, because as I speak a little bit further, that's going to be a major differentiating point as well. I also mentioned the fact that we have paperless phones. We also have the D745. For those who have clients that are happy with a monochrome screen, we can introduce the D745, which gives you a full non-paperless programmable button screen that brings it a little bit more of a cost-effective solution for your client base. Again, one of the things I wanted to mention, this is more of a repeat of what I mentioned to you earlier. I think in here, you'll notice a very different scheme in terms of our graphical user interface. And I'm going to get a little bit deeper into some of the true ideas that we brought out through the operating system of this particular phone. Some of the more details is that on the lower right-hand corner, you will notice that the 6 buttons that you have is not only giving you 6 speed dials, but the little bit of the little term key that's right below it on the lower right-hand corner gives you 4 pages, which gives you 24 virtual BLF keys that gives you the capability of being able to configure not only 1 set, but 4 sets of rows going through. In the past, when you talk about visualization, as you can tell on the actual screen, you can see people's presence by looking at whether or not, in the case of Steve Fuller, you'll see a green loop around his icon versus a yellow loop loop, which gives you an idea of whether that person's available to speak to you or whether that person's on standby, possibly on vacation. Again, these are the tiny features that gives you lots and lots of capabilities moving forward. And of course, there's audio, which of course, as you showed on the first slide, Snom is one of the first companies out there that actually has a sound room located within their laboratories. Again, this is something that's very unique to the Snom industry because we take audio performance very, very seriously. In addition to our phones, as well as the loaded 24 buttons, there are some of those that may want to have an expansion module. This expansion module is also consistent throughout our entire 7 series line, and that you can daisy chain up until 3 to couple with your actual phone. The phone itself has enough power to power one side module so that you can just plug one in, and that module will be able to power the phone with the expansion directly. If you want to add 2 and 3, you'll need to just add one more power supply to provide additional power. But you can tell below all of the different phone models that it's capable of supporting, which is all of the D7 series. Let's get into a little bit about out-of-the-box experience for the phone. Some of the things that really that differentiate a phone is a lot of the things that come out. I think one of my favorite features is the silent mode, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. Is that not only do you have 2 lines, but you also have the ability to support conferencing, smart transfer, silent mode, and dialing mode right out of the box. Now, you could, if you want to, customize these buttons to be able to meet your specific needs. You may just want to have all lines or speed dials below it. That's really, really up to you. But I'll get into a little bit more about what these features do moving forward. Let's talk about quick redial. Very often in most competitive phones, when you dial and you receive calls, they all appear in one simple menu, and that when you want to go ahead and dial back, you have to sift through all of your historical preferences trying to pick out the dial that you wanted to do. With one press of a key, you can go directly to your directory and being able to take a look at all of those phones that you've actually dialed in the last phone menu, so that you go have a very quick reference in picking the person you want to dial and giving them the redial. As you note on the screen itself, you see dialed with several different icons, and that you can actually page through on our paging key that you can see those dialed, those that you've actually received, and all of those things are done, but with a simple program of a push of a button, you'll get all of those that you've dialed so that you can really slim down the number of calls you've contacted very recently. Again, this just adds to the level of productivity. Silent mode, this is probably my favorite button of the key. Like right now, I have a D785 sitting next to me. I have an advanced model. Sorry, folks, but you'll get yours shortly. But the silent mode is very often what we do to our smartphones every day. When we go into a meeting, we like to put it in a buzz mode or being able to vibrate. And what this does is gives you the visual cues so that you know when you're getting the cues, but you're not going to be disturbed by having somebody call you on your desk phone and be able to provide a distracting experience if you happen to be in the middle of a meeting, but the phone is still alive, being able to give you that visual capability of seeing what you have, coming in. In the past, with all of the other phones, you would typically have to go to your volume key or go to whatever menu button and click it down several times. And once you want to get back on, you have to go back to the home menu and then click it back on to the level that you had it before. This is all done with a simple push of a button. I want to talk, before I jump into headsets a bit, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the keys here. In the smart transfer mode, this is a great key that not only do you just do speed dials, but it also has the capability of transferring over to a specific extension or even transferring to a specific dial. Very often you're stuck at your desk and being able to pick up a call, but what you can do is push that one button and be able to take that call and transferring it over to your smartphone so that you can carry on with your business moving forward with a simple push of a key. You could also do this with a lot of conferencing calls and everything moving forward. So that's why I wanted to cover before, I move on to headsets. With Snom phones, we also have our own lined headsets. They're the 100A and 100D, which is the single monotone or dual headset capabilities that fits our phones through our USB or RJ9 port. But in addition to ours, we are also fully compatible with third-party headset manufacturers. I'm sure everybody here knows who they are, and you can be rest assured that all of those headsets are pretty much compatible with the Snom line. This provides great wired headsets and provides a very reliable interface in both a dual and a single monaural type of head assignment that you wish to bring to your clients. Now here's where the things differentiate. As I mentioned earlier about our USB port, I talked about the ability to have a USB port that is common amongst everything from our entry-level phone going all the way to the top. On the top, you'll notice that Snom has the ability to give our phones the ability to issue a Wi-Fi interface. So what that means is that, especially for home office situations or small office situations, you don't have an Ethernet cable that brings it to your desk. Well, this gives the phone the ability to hook into your wireless network and hook into your phone on both the entry level as well as the high end to hook into the interface. Now let's talk about the bottom piece, which brings a little bit more of a differentiator. Snom also has a DECT interface, which now you could use a different USB dongle and be able to hook into not only DECT headsets, which is what I'll show in the future, but also DECT coupled conferencing phones. And what that does is gives you the wireless capability so that now your desk phone can now convert into a wireless conference phone. What I'm showing here is the VTech VCS850, which is really the conferencing unit that has a battery internally within the unit, and it can last all day. So once it's fully charged and you have this paired up to your Snom phone, you can actually dial a number on your phone and be able to bring this auxiliary conferencing unit anywhere you want to go, and you can have not only a speaker but microphones in a totally wireless unit moving forward. And that's really a unique headset. And then beyond the USB dongle, we can go back to some of the legacy things, like we have like a headset expander, as well as being able to support third-party wireless devices as well. You know, we know out there that many people support many different wireless interfaces, and that's something that we support in addition moving forward. Now let's talk about headsets. Both the DECT dongle will be able to not only talk with the auxiliary conferencing unit, but also to an over-the-ear as well as an over-the-head DECT headset. This brings huge advantages in terms of distance and covering where your phone is to where your filing cabinet or where your other offices happen to be. Very often, Bluetooth is fantastic when you have a short range and all of the things that you need to reach to are in a short range, but DECT gives you 10 times the distance, as well as giving you control over much longer distances, and you can bring this on everywhere from our executive phone, the D785, all the way down to our entry level, say the D715 moving forward. This again really complements some of the joint or the mutual benefits of combining a lot of the VTech, our parent company, along with Snom, which is a technology company combined, that we can really establish full compatibility in many of the high things that they build, coupled with full compatibility with our phone sets moving forward. Again, new graphical interface. Just one last piece that I wanted to bring forth to you is that, very often, I may have several hundred people in my contact database, and you can actually set it so that you can decide how you want the call to move forward, especially when you're doing call forwarding, or if you have specific group numbers, or when you want to dial up a person in your contact database, you can press a certain letter on your keyboard, and all of a sudden, the interface will just show you all of the people that start with that specific letter, or perhaps that particular group number or extension, depending on how you want to do. This again gives you that flexibility in being able to match the phone to your specific needs, so that not everybody has to really, go deep in understanding how a new phone works. Okay. As mentioned below, this is available on the D785, and as I see in the notes, that this interface is also being worked on for potential compatibility on our existing D765 moving forward. Again, that's kind of all I have for our desk phones for the D785. If you have any questions regarding our conferencing or our peripheral PA1s unit, please feel free to give me a call or give anybody else a call, including your partners moving forward. All right. Again, my name is Tommy Lee. Feel free to call me on my DID or my email, and I look forward to hearing back from you soon. Brian, you want to take it from here?
Yep, absolutely. Tommy, thank you very much for the great presentation and introduction of the new phone, the D785. Actually, I was just going through here, Tommy, and just have a couple of questions. One regarding service providers, and I guess we'll tie in software. What are you seeing Snom phones used with the most as far as service providers go and software applications, Tommy?
The Snom phone is fully compatible with all the majors. The majors I'm talking about are a lot of the broad softs. I guess now it's actually Cisco. The Meta switches. It's also fully compatible with 3CX. Many of the manufacturers out there, of course, Asterisk and FreeSwitch. I mean, it goes across the board. In fact, since we've been around for 20 years, we're actually, fully compatible with any SIP compliant manufacturer. But when you want to talk about full certification, we have a full list of not only American but European manufacturers as well. So you feel free to go back to that list that I handed out earlier, and if it's not on that list, feel free to give me a call. I can provide you with further detail. But there are many platforms that, as long as it's SIP based, there's a good likelihood that we're very compatible with it. And then those that I spoke about earlier talks about auto provisioning, which will enable to do that as well. One of the new people that came about, we also have brought on and compatible with, Yaystar, Epigee, I mean, you name it, Vodia, so many different manufacturers out there that we are compatible with. In fact, it's probably, something that's lesser concern if you're in the SIP business.
And thank you.
All righty. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.